Okay, and welcome to this second video on harder quadratics where the coefficient, the number in front of the x squared, is not equal to 1. Okay, so we're going to look at two different methods that we can do with this. You pick whichever method works for you. It's exactly the same as what we would do with the normal quadratic, okay, where your coefficient is just 1. Okay, I'm going to do my set of brackets. I'm looking for the factors of 2. Well, one's going to be 2x, one's going to be x. Okay, and then I'm looking for the factors of 15. Okay, so I've got 1 and 15, and I've got 3 and 5. They're my two factors. Okay, I'm looking for something that when I add together gives me negative 13. Okay, so important that you got that negative 13 there. Okay, but bearing in mind I've got 2 times something and 1 times something. So if I look at doing sort of like 2 times 1, 1 times 15, that would make 13, and 2 times 5 and 1 times 3 would also make 13. So we're going to have to sort of like really try this one out. So let's say we put in, just to try it, that we've got 2 times 5, okay, and 1 times 3. How do I make positive 15 when I've got negatives in there? They both are going to have to be negative. Negative times a negative gives me a positive. Okay, so on that one, let's multiply it out. 2 times negative 5 gives me negative 10. 1 times negative 3 gives me negative 3. And if I sum them together, that gives me negative 13. 2x times x gives me 2x squared. Sorry, 3 times 5, both negative, would give me positive 15. Okay, so we've gone for the right answer to start with. So it's going to give me 2x minus 3 is going to equal 0, or x minus 5 is going to equal 0. So adding 5 to both sides, x is going to equal 5. On this one, add 3 to both sides, 2x equals 3. Divide 3 by the coefficient. So let's plug in one lot of 15. Okay, bearing in mind it's got to be minus, and 2 lots of 1. And again, to get the positive 15, it would have to be minus. Okay, so minus 15, when I multiply that out, minus 15, and then 2 times negative 1 minus 2, that would sum to give me minus 17. Okay, so not the right answer. The only way I can get negative 13 on that one is if I make the 1 a positive, and then if I multiply it out, 2x times x gives me 2x squared, that's right. Minus 15, add 2, would indeed give me minus 13, so the middle term would be right. But now let's look at the signs. 15 multiplied by 1 would give me 15, but a negative and a positive means that that would be a negative 15. So that would be the wrong answer. Okay. So, a different way to do it. Okay, if you didn't want to do the trial and improvement, another way you could do it is we're going to multiply through by 2 to the 15. So right in the bracket then, we would start off by saying, well, if I got 2 lots of x, and then we've got something else, and I've got 2 lots of x, and something else equals 0. We know that when we multiply that out, 2x times 2x is going to give me 4x squared, not 2x squared. But what we could do is if we then divide that down by 2 at the end, okay, one of those will factorise back into a single x. Okay. If we do 2 times 15, okay, so we're going to multiply these two together, okay, that's going to give me 30. So I want the factors of 30 to be able to do this method. So 1 and 30, 2 and 15, 5 and 6, oh, and don't forget 3 and 10. Okay, 1, 2, 3 and 10, 5 and 6. So what numbers there can we see that we could make minus 13 out of? Okay, well actually 1 and 30, that won't. Okay, if both of them are negative, which they've got to be to get me that positive there, that's going to give me 17, so it's not going to be that one. 5 and 6 would give me 11, so it's not going to be that one. So this one, minus 3, minus 10 would give me minus 13. So that's my pair that I want. So if I now put in minus 3 and minus 10, okay, we're now going to look to get rid of that 2 that we put on the bottom, the divide by 2. Okay, 2 would go into 2x, but 2 will not factorise out from and divide into whole numbers into 3. So we can't, that bracket's got to stay as it is, so it's got to be 2x minus 3. Okay, if we look at the next one, we've got 2 goes into 2x once, and then 2 goes into negative 10 5 times. We've got 2 goes into 2x, 1x, 2 goes into 10 5 times, so negative 5 equals 0. So if I now multiply that out, 2x times x gives me 2x squared, 2x times negative 5 gives me 10x negative, 3 times negative 3 times x gives me negative 3x, which gives me negative 13x in total, and negative 3 and negative 5 gives me my solution. So I'm then on to solve it. X equals 5 or x equals 2, 3 over 2, and see how you get on. Okay, let's see how you did. So I'm going to start off using the 3x version, and then I'm going to divide through by 3. Okay, so 3 times the 4 gives me 12, so I'm looking for factors of 12. 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4. Okay, so I want a number that's going to give me, remember I've got negative here, so I need one positive and one negative. Okay, so a positive and a negative means that I'm going to say 1 and 12. 12 take away 1 would give me 11. Okay, but 1 take away 12 would give me negative 11, so that's the one that I want. Okay, so 1 and negative 12. So again, looking to divide down by the 3. 3 doesn't go into the first bracket because it'll go into the 3, but it won't go into the 1. So 3x plus 1 is going to stay. And then the second bracket, 3 goes into 3 once, 3 goes into 12 4 times. Okay, and that's factorised. If we're now looking to solve it, okay, so 3x plus 1 equals 0. So if I take away 1 from both sides, 3x equals negative 1. Divide through by 3, so x equals negative 1/3. Or we've got x minus 4 equals 0. Add 4 to both sides, x equals positive 4. Okay, so my two solutions, x equals negative 1/3, or x equals 4. Okay, so sometimes you may get a quadratic similar to this where you need to rearrange it first before we can do any factorisation with it. So we need it to equal 0, so we need to get rid of that 6. The only way I can get rid of that 6 and make it 0 is to add 6 to both sides. Okay, so because we haven't got a constant term on the left, we're just going to add that in. 15x squared plus 19x plus 6 equals 0. Okay, now because I've got coefficient bigger than 1, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do the multiplication root for this one. So I'm going to put 15x in the front of each bracket. Okay, and then I'm going to do 15 multiplied by 6. 6 times 15 is 90, and I'm going to find the factors of 90. So 1 and 90, 2 and 45, 3 and 30, 4 doesn't go into it, 5 goes into it 18 times, 6 goes into it 15 times, okay, 7 doesn't go into it, 8 doesn't go into it, and 9 goes into it 10 times. Okay, now because we've got two addition signs here, 2 plus signs here, we know the answer is going to be 2 additions. So we're just looking to see now what will sum together and add up to 19, and straight away hopefully you can see that 2 things are springing out here, which is 9 and 10. Okay, so remember we've got to divide this through by the 15 because we are not doing the trial and error or trial improvement route. We're putting the 15x in both brackets and then we're going to factorize it out. Okay, so 15 doesn't go into either side, it doesn't go into the 9, it doesn't go into the 10. Okay, so we've got to start thinking, well, okay, so if it doesn't go into it, what does go into this? Okay, so let's think, well, if I divide this through by 5, I can divide one bracket by 5. Okay, so let's do that. So 5 goes into that 3 times. So 5 goes into that 3 times, and 5 goes into that twice. So I've got 3x plus 2. I've still got my 3. Well, 3 doesn't go into 3. 3 goes into 3, but 3 doesn't go into 2. So this bracket I can't do anything with. I've got 3x plus 2. But 3 will go into 9. So 3 goes into 9 3 times. And 3 goes into 15 5 times. So I end up with 5x plus 3, 3x plus 2. Now if I just try and do FOIL to times that out, 5x times 3x gives me 15x squared, 5x times 2 gives me 10x, 3x times 3 gives me 9x, add that together gives me 19x, and then 3 times 2 gives me my positive 6. So I'm happy that that works. Okay, so I just now need to solve. So 5x plus 3 equals 0. Subtract 3 from both sides. 5x equals negative 3. Divide 3 by the coefficient. So x equals minus 3 over 5. Or 3x plus 2 equals 0. Subtract the 2 from both sides. 3x equals negative 2. Divide 3 by the coefficient. So x equals negative 2 over 3. So x equals negative 2 over 3 or negative 3 over 5. The big benefit with this particular method is that you're not, especially if you've got a number that has got multiple factors like 15 and 6, you've got two sets of factors for the number 6 and you've got 2 sets of factors for the number 15. It reduces your combinations that you can possibly look at. So it would just be the best method for this particular question. Hopefully that's useful. If you want to have a go at one of these questions, okay, pause the video and have a go at the next question. So let's see how you got on. Okay, so we've got to move the 9 across for a start. So we've got 10x squared plus 21x plus 9 equals 0. Okay, I'm now going to work it on the 10x in each bracket. Okay, and remember I'm finding the factors of 10 times 9, which is 90. Okay, I'm going to divide this by 10 when I finish. So 10 times 9. Okay, I've got 1 times 90, I've got 2 times 45, I've got 3 times 30, I've got 5 times 18, and I've got 6 times 15. So, seeing which one that we're going to use, I need to make 21. So thinking about 21, the last one is the one that should be screaming out to you, 6 and 15. So I've got plus 6 and plus 15. If I'm dividing down by 10, again, 10 won't go into both of the numbers, but we can factorize out some of that number. So let's divide through by 2. Okay, so 2 goes into 10. 2 also goes into 10 5 times and 6 3 times. 5 won't go into the 3, but you'll see the 5 will go into the other side. Divide it through by 5. Divide that through by 5 gives me 2. Divide through that by 5, that gives me 3. So my brackets will end up being 5x plus 3 and 2x plus 3. Then you would solve for x. So 5x plus 3 equals 0. Subtract 3 from both sides. 5x equals minus 3. Divide through by the 5. X equals negative 3/5. And the last one, okay, 2x plus 3 equals 0. Subtract 3 from both sides. 2x equals minus 3. Divide through by 2. X equals minus 3 over 2. And that's your solutions. Hope that helped. Catch you again next time.